day.
Yeah, because it wasn't on automation. When it don't come on, just so I tried to find the commercial and I couldn't find it.
R&B.
All of those blue ones. But you used to just have like block B, block A. But once you can just pull up one of those, highlight it and hit run now. You're good.
Okay.
See, I thought this one is highlighted.
Right. So you highlight them all and then hit run now, or
No, just highlight one.
okay, and then it was just a block.
Okay,
block. Got it.
You know.
If I can't solve fish, I don't want them have it. If I solve mackerel, I don't want they have it. If I keep their liver, I don't want me say balance jerk house, them have it. And if I porridge, I don't want porridge jerk house, them have it. Them have the cornmeal porridge. Them have the plot and the banana porridge. Me say they have every porridge. On top of that, them have lunch special for Lily. And look, me I tell you, say oxtail curry chicken, brown stew chicken, curry goat, and everything have fried dumpling. Them have fried saltfish, them have patch.
I'm gonna give you another.
You sound like a little bit.
What would I do without you?
Them have carrot, must them have sorrel, jerk, bananas, jerk, cause them have it out there, jerk, chicken, jerk, beef, jerk, pork, jerk, no, so when they have on Friday, them have seafood and jerk, fish fry.
Got it.
What's on a can call, I'm putting on the order. The number for call is 973-399-4480. Me say I follow jerk, so I don't know my one jerk.
Oh, this is connected.
Sing it, representing the color heritage. Represent the heritage.
All right. I was going to ask you if you want to change. I'm off of, we put a router down there with a new password, but now I'm off of that, so you should be good.
Oh, you mean streaming?
So you're the only one streaming on that one. I'm on the other one now. But I'll give it to you when we leave, and then we won't have any more problems.
Color heritage. I guess what I Winston, representing from all the Caribbean. Listen up. The blood of African kings run up in our vein. Here, color heritage, rebellious offspring. Winston got a warrior spirit inside. From that time, we can't tame. This warrior spirit inside. He come for record, shackle and chill. He wanna shaka solo, big knee, and Kuma, big knee, contact inte, big knee. I tell a color heritage, I'm a family. The voice of Jarvis, for them to remember, rep your culture. I color heritage. I do it in this fashion as I will tell it to you. Check out.
Somebody has been inboxing me to be my.
Know what I am doing? Downloading the Western Union app. I need to send money to my auntie in Nigeria. Know what I am doing now? Checking today's exchange rate to Nigeria on the Western Union app. Now, I'm sending my auntie money to help her with her groceries.
Download the Western Union app today. Use it to check today's exchange rate and send money to loved ones in Nigeria. Western Union, moving money for better.
Western Union makes money from currency exchange. Carefully compare fees and exchange rates, which may vary and are subject to change. MLS number 906983.
For the most authentic Caribbean food in town, check out Sunsplash Caribbean Bakery and Restaurant. They got a natural organic juice bar that'll get your day started right.
He crashed into a pole. His car caught on fire. Another car crashed into his car. Right? Burst into flames. The innocent guy jumped out of his car. The cops thought the innocent guy was the guy they were chasing. Kicked the shit out of him.
I mean, in the heat of all that, I mean, that's fine. I didn't see it, but that's definitely, somebody can pay.
But the guy is on his knees. When the cops, they got guns drawn, they come, the dude is on his knees. He's not resisting anything. He was on fire, too.
And so much more. I mean, their menu is extended and they're highly rated. Your best bet is to just stop by or give them a call.
That's a literal hot topic.
9 p.m. Thursday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sundays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're located at 56 Main Street in Orange, New Jersey, and can be reached at 973-395-3777.
load up on the empty plate.
Lost again last night, huh?
Oh, we can talk about that too. And I know we don't do a sports show, but
let your food be medicine. Eat well, live longer. I'm David Shepard, and I endorse this commercial.
oh, come on.
So now I know why all those sponsors were pulling out.
Soca, hip hop and R&B, African,
Look at this.
disco. All these good
See, that's the guy. That's the guy rolling.
We're bridging. No, seriously.
Help him out,
94.3 New Jersey.
Oh, yo.
Eric
Put that, copy that link and put it on my thing.
Hold on, I gotta close it, but I will.
And put it on both of us so we can, our listeners can, Good morning, yo. What's happening?
Yes, ladies
you
and
gonna find out.
gentlemen, this is yours truly.
You like the exercising this morning?
New Dimension Pentecostal Ministries, located at 6 Altman Avenue in East Orange, New Jersey. Yes, I am inviting you to join me each and every Sunday morning from 5 a.m. until 9 a.m. on Splash Radio 94.3 on the FM dial with hours and hours of the soul-catching gospel. Join me right here on one of the great stations of all nations. Right here. Join me. Splash Radio 94.3 on the FM dial.
Alright, that's what I gotta do. I'm gonna buy that thing as soon as I leave here on my phone so I can put that up there. I can't do this no more.
What?
Now I want to represent and use my iPad. I'd rather be typing than
radio. We just splash out the music on them.
Oh,
what happened?
Nothing. I'm off.
You off the new Wi-Fi?
I just wasn't paying attention. Not sure what happened. Splash drops, splash intros. We're gonna do it again.
Initialize sequence now.
Y'all ready?
Your attention, please. This is no ordinary show. Covering news and information for Essex County, New Jersey, and beyond. This is the Eric Dawson Radio Show. Broadcasting from 94.3 Splash Radio. Now, here's your host, giving it to you like only he can. It's Eric Dawson.
Hey, this is Eric Dawson. This is the Eric Dawson Radio Show. Today is Thursday, and I'm here with co-host Ian Burrowes. Caller number 973-457-8000. Again, 973-457-8000. If you're listening through your mobile device, 213-493-0287. And as always, we're streaming live on Facebook. Check us out on Ian's page, it's Ian Burrowes, or my page, it's Eric Dawson, and join the conversation. What's going on, man?
Happy Thursday, everybody. Ooh, man, my morning, bro.
What happened?
It started off very early. It started off with I'm locked up. Can you get me out of jail for a DWI at 4 in the morning? And then after I assisted in that, then I was afraid to go to sleep.
You got him out?
Baby girl. Yeah, then I had to get. I was afraid to go back to sleep at that point, and because by the time I got done with that, I had to think about I had to get up.
DWI. Oh, that's a wrap, man.
Yeah, well,
you know, and you know that kills. It kills job opportunities. You know, the ability to be able to all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah, well, did you see about that judge with the DWI issue? She got It was a female judge. She had an issue with. I think she's an alcoholic. She has some major problems.
Well, she got problems beyond DWI.
Yeah, absolutely.
That just manifested themselves when.
And they picked her. And they picked her up from. They freaking had a warrant for her and picked her up from.
In what town? In Jersey?
I gotta go back to my page.
All right. Well, while we try to find that,
figured it out. But
we got a couple hot topics.
Well, let's get.
We have a really hot topic.
Well, let's get the not so hot topic out the way, which is Cleveland's about to get swept.
Yo, man,
they about to get swept, bro.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. But
how did LeBron do in the game?
Yeah, he did what he was supposed to do. I mean, my whole thing is like, I don't understand how
Durant.
First
Say it
of
again,
all,
Durant. That's it. That's the X factor in this series, man.
The move alone, the move to that team alone to me was whack. That was just a whack move to me because they were your arch enemy in your conference.
No.
They were your arch enemy.
No. See, they were the arch enemy of the fans. Right?
No, they were your arch enemy.
No, they were his arch.
That team was the team that knocked you out Game 7 to go to the finals. And you're supposed to be like, I'm going to come back and see you again. Not like, you know what?
No. Professional sports are for the money, brother. Don't get it twisted. See, fans get caught up in feelings.
That was a whack move, though.
Fans get caught up in.
What's going on, Eric?
Listen, I'm a Dolphin fan, right? And
I'm
Jason Taylor.
I'm a Jet fan. So
that's the issue.
We'll be arguing. all
So
year.
now I realize that's the issue. But remember, Jason Taylor, he went to the Jets, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he? He left the Dolphins and he went to the Jets. And I wasn't mad at that. Now, if you talk about arch enemies, man, come on.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I guess,
it's about the money.
I guess.
So we get caught up in feelings, and we invest in these jerseys that cost an arm and a leg now, right?
Yeah.
And then then the player leaves, and then the fan feels like they've been dumped. Like you in a relationship, man.
Yeah,
you just got dumped.
What's going on, bro? How you gonna leave me like that?
How you gonna leave me like that?
Altar?
That's exactly what it is, man. And then the fans are sitting there, man. I think it's hysterical. I've seen it. I've literally seen guys, man, grown ass men, 300 plus pounds, man. 6, 7.
Men have feelings too.
Yeah, man, but you shouldn't be feeling like that. Like, I mean, I'm seeing, like, literally.
Hey, yeah.
Like your girl didn't call you for 3 weeks and you don't know where she is, or she's dating somebody else and posting the pictures on Facebook.
Yo, I'm finished with you, bro.
Yo,
Adele, this guy, man, over here.
But that's what's happening. Am I lying? Somebody tell me whether I'm lying or not. That's how these fans are, and you forget that it's about the money for these athletes, and they better go get the money. Like when LeBron left and went to Miami, right?
When he took his challenge to,
people were screaming and hollering about that.
It was the way he did it.
What do you mean? This is what I'm saying. He
didn't have the conversation
with whom?
The team to give them a heads up on what his intentions were, so that they can scout around and see what they're gonna do. They found out when everybody else found out.
Okay,
that was whack.
But when he came back and won the championship, was all forgiven. Was
all
forgiven.
Of course.
So my man went away. He had to go away. He had to get himself right.
But now he's going up against a stacked team. That's for me.
Well, but who wasn't going up against a stacked team when he went to Miami?
I'm saying these guys.
So that's what they do.
I don't understand that.
Listen, it's the days of
the only time guys were stacking teams like that back in the day when we formed the darn Dream Team. You would never see Magic and Bird talking about let's go ahead and join our team together. Let's join a team together.
Wait, remember Karl Malone? They tried to do that with the Lakers, right? Karl Malone, the Glove, they all went to the Lakers to try to do the same thing. They weren't successful. But they tried to give Karl Malone a championship when he went there to try to get a championship. Look, at the end of you don't remember Karl Malone?
From Utah Jazz?
Utah Jazz.
Went to the Lakers?
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that at all.
Really?
No, did that really happen? I don't think he's talking about.
Hey guys, tell me, am I look me? I know I'm old.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
know I'm
it.
old.
That could definitely be it. I don't
old.
think he ever left Utah. I think him
I think Karl Malone left and went to the Los Angeles Lakers, man. Karl Malone. Is somebody answering that?
Stephanie said teams aren't loyal to no players. Yeah, Stephanie, you might have a point there. Teams aren't loyal to the players, so why should the players be loyal to the team?
Right,
yeah.
Karl Malone and the Lakers. There you go. You want to see him in the
Did
Lakers?
He really go to the Lakers?
He is right here, number 11. Look. Boom, bam.
Did he really?
Bam. But I'm telling you, Karl Malone said, you know what? I spent all of the years.
I forgot that. I guess I didn't want that in my head.
Karl Malone said, I spent all those years with the Utah Jazz, and they couldn't get a championship.
And then he went to the Lakers and still didn't get one.
And he went to the Lakers and he still didn't get one. So let's take this call.
That's what you know, kind of.
Hello, caller.
Good morning, caller. How you doing?
Mr. Burrowes, you may have a little chess game, but you are sorry when it comes to your basketball trivia.
See what I'm talking about?
They came to the Lakers, and this is the Grandmaster Farr.
Hey, Farrakhan, listen, man, are you? Hey, Farrakhan, are you one of them dudes that's caught up in your feelings when it comes to dudes leaving your teams, man?
Nah, I don't get caught up in feelings because it's a business. He's supposed
to
go where the money is.
Go where the money is.
No, but come on, though. But come on.
The teams have no loyalty to you.
That's absolutely right.
Just look at the career of Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing should have left.
Any loaning to him, they did him dirty.
Patrick Ewing should have left. He should have left. He should have left. One of the greatest centers, if not the greatest center ever played a game, no ring on his finger. Now, I'm not, listen, I want to tell you, you know, I would love to be able to do a sports show, but like I'm really not caught up on a lot of sports trivia, so you guys have almost drained all of my knowledge just now.
My thing was, well, one...
And I wasn't even a Knicks fan, because I'm a Boston Celtic fan.
Now you're a Celtic fan.
I am. Well, way back when Nate Tiny Archibald played. That's when I started becoming that's when I was a Boston Celtic fan. So, you know, I was there.
I was never really a Boston Celtic fan. I was just a Larry Bird fan.
Man. Oh, when Larry came to the Celtics, man, I was caught in my feelings.
Larry Bird.
And it was bad too, because I remember when we got beat by the Lakers in the championship, one of the championship games, and I told my coworker, I said, if they win, and you know, it was a casual dress environment that I worked in, jeans and stuff like that, but I wore a black suit every day and morning for the whole week, man. I did. I did. You know, that was the bet. So literally, everybody else is in jeans and dressed down polo shirts and stuff, and I'm coming in with black suit and white shirt and black tie.
I got everybody on the feed like sports. I'm about to get out of here. We're like, we about to talk about some real stuff. Well, we just had to look at the sweep that's about to happen.
No, but you got to. But look, news is news, and it is news.
News is news.
You know, the NBA is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And so it is what it is.
But being that we're talking about sports, how about this segue? To segue to the NFL. The NFL...
Thanks for the call, Craig.
Thanks for... The NFL just recently got back together with Hank Williams Jr. Now remember, many years ago, they had to kick him to the curb because...
Some racist statements?
Some racist statements, yes. So, money.
We're back to the money.
No,
right? Because I heard, and again,
it's just not surprising that now in this climate, and with the current administration and the climate and of a lot of separate climate conversation, that this is happening.
I'm sorry. Hey, Johnny Rivers. The call-in number is 973-457-8000. Again, 973-457-8000.
Yeah, it's not surprising that in this climate, in particular, under this administration, that the NFL is once again.
You gonna blame that on? Wait.
No, I'm not blaming it on the administration. I'm saying the climate that's created with the administration, a lot of separate whatchamacallit.
That thing.
They're bringing back Hank Williams Jr. So my question is this, and I think I posed it, is that the NFL is bringing back Hank Williams Jr., who was, how did I particularly word it? Who was pretty much a racist, but they are ostracizing Colin Kaepernick, who is...
Because Colin Kaepernick ain't bringing them no money. Hank Williams is. I mean, come on. We got to get with it. We got to understand what it is. They said that when...
Colin Kaepernick's has a jersey, was the highest selling jersey in all of sports.
Okay. And is the jersey still selling? Is it still selling?
I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I tell you what,
wait.
wherever he would go, it would sell. And this is what I posted, and I actually also sent a tweet, and my tweet is at Chess Mandingo. Don't laugh. That's my Twitter name.
Don't laugh.
Yeah, I put at NFL noted racist Hank Jr. is embraced by you, but noted civil rights activist Colin Kaepernick is not. How should brown people feel about that?
Well, I want to know. 973-457-8000.
I mean, that was a decent segue, being that we started off on.
It is a decent segue.
To talk about that only because
we're diverse.
Only because it's really incredible, on how, for me, certain things, the one kicker is Josh Brown, whatever. Noted and admitted as beating his wife several times. We got so many things going on that the NFL allows players, and other sports allows these players to stay in. But when you have anybody that took a political stance in sports, whether in a prime or not, has been kicked to the curb.
All right, so let's be clear.
Muhammad Ali,
right,
banned for 3 years. Chris Jackson, a.k.a. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, who was an NBA All-Star, and one of his accolades, one of his achievements in the NBA, the awards that he received, was the most improved player. Mm-hmm. And he took a stance similar to Colin Kaepernick, choosing not to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance or Star Spangled Banner, and then Colin Kaepernick. We're not talking about individuals that did something in the sport and because of that they violated some kind of ethical thing in the sport to get banned. These guys are getting banned for their political position outside of sport, which is just a shame. But before we get into a couple other things, I mean, you were showing a video and talking about that.
I posted it on your page.
And you posted it on the page.
Yeah.
Everybody, y'all got to check that link out. That was posted on the page.
So the headline for that is that and this is in NJ.com. No, I'm sorry. This was the Daily News. It says,
so we're not going to talk sports no more, yo. That's not our forte. Not at all.
It says Jersey City cop caught on video kicking and beating innocent bystander near scene of fiery crash. So, now, there are two things that disturb me about this, and I'm glad to hear that the mayor of Jersey City stepped up and stepped out and talked about this and is pursuing criminal charges against these officers. But apparently there was a chase. There was gunfire. The mayor in Jersey City said that he doesn't believe that was following protocol, right? So that's what they did. And then what happened was the assailant crashed the car, and then another car crashed into that car. There is a fiery blaze going on. Mm-hmm. The guy who crashed into the stolen car.
Whatever happened to the assailant?
Oh, no, he's in jail now. I mean, he's they arrested him, and there were some other people in the car.
Okay.
But when the police arrived on the scene, the cars were engulfed in flames. A gentleman extricated himself from the vehicle, and he too was engulfed in flames.
You use these words.
He's rolling.
Let me go to my dictionary.
He's rolling on the ground because they say stop, drop, and roll, right? So It was good to see on that video that that's exactly what he did. So kudos to him.
Right.
So he stopped, dropped, and rolled. Got up and removed the jacket or outer clothing that he had on to save himself from burning. And then the police arrived on the scene, guns drawn. In this picture, you see 4 of them.
Right.
Pointed at him. He now takes a position on his knees with his hands up, and the first cop that approaches him proceeds to kick him in the head.
Okay, now we're talking about a high emotion situation at that point. And what else? What else happened?
So then, after that one kicked him in the head, then another one kicked him or hit him. See him rolling? There he is. He's rolling. Look at it.
That's typically what
Right. And then they drag him afterwards.
But is he still on fire?
No. See now, so now he's off. He's not on fire, and he's taken a very docile position. They kick him. One kicks him. Then they surround him, and then they grab him like he's an animal and drag him from the sidewalk off of the curb, not caring for his safety or health, right?
Right.
And it turns out that this guy it was just an innocent guy who happened to crash into the vehicle. Now, the other thing that disturbs me, and then I'll give you the mic, and then we'll ask callers to call in. The union came out in support of the behavior of these police officers.
As they should.
No.
That's what I mean.
So are unions about being right, or are unions about protecting no matter what?
Unions about protecting no matter what.
Well, then that's why they have no credibility. Call in number 973-457-8000.
No, but that's every union. That's every union.
Well, that's why the teachers union has no credibility with me.
Every union supports their position is to stand by and support your own. That's what I've always perceived the union's position.
I think that's horrible.
I'm not saying it's always right, but I'm saying that of course they did. That's like getting upset with a freaking defense attorney.
So you're telling me if a union, if they saw a clear video where a police officer walked up to a guy who was on his knees and took his gun and shot him in the head, that it's the union's responsibility to come out and say that officer is what?
It's not their job to do anything other than support one of their members. It's not their job to do anything. It's the job of the investigators and others to make sure that they do a thorough investigation, follow up as they're supposed to, make sure everybody's adhering to protocol, procedures, and rules and regulations and the law. That's what I think is supposed to happen. So no, I'm not upset at the union's position on that, because every union's position is similar, regardless of your vocation.
So the cop that shot Michael Brown, that union, they came out and said, you know what, we're 100% behind that police officer, and we're going to raise money for that police officer's defense fund. Mm-hmm. You're good with that?
If the union says that,
yeah.
I understand. Again,
are you a union guy?
Not now.
See, I used to be a shop steward, and I believe in accountability. I don't care where it is.
I'm not saying
whether it's in the union or not.
No. But we're talking about two different things. We're talking about that's like for me getting upset, and Stephanie agrees, and now, actually, I'm confused. Stephanie agrees with both of us, so I don't know what she's talking about. I'm confused, Stephanie. But, yeah, I mean, the union's position, much like a defense attorney, is to defend their client. Point blank, period. That's what the union's position is. Now, and to make sure that that they're properly represented and protected, and their job is protected. I think that's the purpose of the union.
So this is what I'm going to say. I agree.
I don't think a union's position is. I don't think they're morally obligated to do anything beyond that.
So I believe that you're right in that you're saying that a union's responsibility is to protect their union member, right?
Right.
So, but if the union member did something wrong, I believe that the union should make sure that the punishment that's doled out is fair.
No, there's different departments for that, right?
No.
Isn't there an HR department or some other departments or whatever?
Right, but I'm saying is the union's job. But is the union's job to try to exonerate the person, or to simply make sure that the person is treated fairly? based on whatever the bargaining agreement was, whatever the bargaining agreement. So here's the bargaining agreement that we have with the municipality. This is what I'm assuming. And again, I'm, if there's anybody out there who's led a union or whatever, call in 973-457-8000 because I really want to know. But my understanding is that the union should step forward and say, okay, here's our union member, and we want to make sure that our union member gets due process, right, and that things are level.
But they don't.
And fair.
But they also don't take position.
They did take a position. They took a position. So if they didn't take a position, see, and I'd be okay if they didn't take a position, but they came out and took a position and said that they believed that the officers acted justly.
Well, that's the position they're always going to take because they're trying
to protect the person's job. And that's what I'm saying that I have an issue with. If they didn't take a position at all, if they said, you know what, we're going to wait and see. We saw the video. We're going to wait and see. I'd have the utmost amount of respect for them. But for them to come out with looking at that video and having nothing else to go by, and for them to take that position, I think they lose all credibility.
Are you having Wi-Fi connection issues?
I'm not.
You're not? Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, but you're not on a new Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think write that down for me. I'm gonna connect to that because we can't have this. This is on. We on Facebook Live. We can't have folks like, why can't I see the video? We can't do that.
Huh.
So
okay, so I'm gonna give it to you.
The other things. I mean, I emailed you a few things, and I mean, I definitely want to talk about.
And we're going to talk about everything.
The gentleman, the reason why sponsors are pulling out the whatchamacallit?
Out of what?
The Puerto Rican Day Parade. I really want to talk about that. A lot of people are unfamiliar with his
story.
story.
Oh, New York.
Yeah. And, a lot of people are unfamiliar with his story. And he was charged, this gentleman, was charged with the same charges as Nelson Mandela and stayed in jail just about as long, which is insane.
So do you think that they should be pulling out?
Oh, no, not at all. But I don't want to jump on that one yet.
Yeah, make sure you put the dashes in. That's part of the password.
But which one is it?
It's the one that says Splash Media.
Oh, got it.
There you go. Do you? I mean, so I'm not terribly familiar with it. I know that the organizers of the parade think it's important for this person to be recognized, right? And you have politicians primarily, and then you do have some sponsors who are. But my question is, what's the community saying about it?
Well, that's a lot of people. The people who are familiar are definitely backing the organizers of the parade. What the whole thing was, being that you're forcing me to kind of go into it, was the fact that
well, educate me, man.
Well, basically is this, and you can refer to your email. You said put the dashes as well.
Yep.
That. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get back up. I got knocked down. Hopefully this helps. So I should be live. All right, I'm good now. Right. Okay. So, well, if we're going to go into it, let's go into it. I know you had some other stuff you wanted to talk about, but if you want to go into that, because that might be, we're going to stay on that one for a while. The gentleman's name is Oscar. I want to get his name correct.
But what did he do?
Well, he was a civil rights activist in Puerto Rico, basically trying to get Puerto Rico from the colonial rule of the United States, and he was trying to organize and help them become more of an independent country. And as a result of that, he was charged, much like Nelson Mandela, for conspiring and whatnot against the government and trying to overthrow in some kind of way, and was incarcerated in the jails for for an extremely long time. He's been incarcerated for 30-something years. That's one of the people that Obama commuted his sentence, and he was released just last month. And it's a very interesting story about this guy, because I mean he was a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was looking into a lot of things. He came up to you know, again, he helped a lot of grassroots organizations and all that, and he brought a lot of things to light. And he was just trying to, he wanted his country to, you know, to be an independent country, and the powers that be didn't want that, and he ended up, you know, being thrown in jail. And now he's been released to Puerto Rican, and he's a Puerto Rican nationalist, and they wanted to honor him as the major honoree, the Puerto Rican Day Parade. And because of that, you had Goya and a lot of other sponsors looking to pull out. And for me, if anybody's familiar, you know, why should the corporate sponsors get to dictate that? And if they're, are you supporting the parade, or are you supporting Puerto Rican pride, or are you supporting your own agenda? So you know what he's going to do. He's going to still participate in the parade, but not as the honored person at the parade. And so that's going to be something that's going to be kind of interesting to see what that's going to be like, because I anticipate, even though he's not the marquee honoree at the parade, that there's going to be a large contingency out there shouting his name when he walks down that street. And you know, that's something to be said. And it's the other thing that I found out, and I'm sorry I'm a little bit all over the place.
That's all right.
You know, I think I'm punch drunk from this morning, running around since 4 o'clock this morning. But you know, they're expanding.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's get back to you know, I want to stay on this because I'm while you were talking, I was reading it a little bit.
Right.
Right. So this is Mr. Lopez, right? Lopez Rivera.
Right.
So
Oscar Lopez
right.
Rivera,
So,
right?
So the as I'm understanding it, you know, it says you know, the militant group FALN, right? The Spanish acronym for the Army Forces of National Liberation, thought of itself as waging war with the United States to win independence for Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
Its most deadly bombing, and so he was responsible for bombings in New York and killing some people.
Those things were not true. You know, that's one of the things that got him locked up for.
Right.
And that's the unfortunate part, is that you know, he's locked up for all these.
So then
he's been classified as a terrorist and all this other stuff, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people, we're not going to support a terrorist, blah blah blah. If he really was, you know, that's, you know, political suicide to release a terrorist from jail. You know, that's political suicide, and the president Obama would not have commuted his sentence if that were the case. So, you know, that's, I mean.
So the issue is this: if he bombed people, if he killed people, you know, then that should not be celebrated. What I think should be celebrated is anybody who fights for things that are right. And in the fight that he was engaged in, the Puerto Rican people believed that was an important fight. Right, so you can't have a group of people who live here who say, you know, we're having a parade that celebrates us, our history, our culture, our beliefs, right? And then those beliefs, that culture, all those things are embodied in this struggle, right? And then here's the guy who helped lead this struggle, And so we want to have him be a part of this. This is all, it's all, you know, you keep, otherwise what you're doing is watering down the parade in their minds. Right. So now for the sponsors and stuff, and the hell with the sponsors, because the see, now I read a little bit more. So the hell with the sponsors, because
exactly
for the sponsors, what they want at the end of the day is they see sometimes a return on their investment, right? So their names are plastered over the signs and on all of the stuff, and any commercials that come out, any printed material, and so those sponsors look to, you know, get a return on that investment somehow, and sometimes they get a write-off for sponsoring.
Right, and I think his charge was seditious conspiracy, which is the same thing that they charged.
The hell with the sponsors, man. The sponsors are all about capitalism. I look, I can be corrected. I'm going to read more.
I mean, what the Puerto Rican Day Parade wanted to do, and again, our number is 973-457-8000. They wanted to, the Puerto Rican Day Parade organizers wanted to honor him as a national freedom hero, and that's when, you know, the powers that be wanted. They don't want to allow. You know, he's pretty much an accurate assessment is to say he's to the Puerto Rican.
But let me say this,
as Nelson Mandela was to the South African.
Here is what Bill de Blasio said. He said the organization he was affiliated with did things I don't agree with, obviously, and they were illegal. Mr. de Blasio went on and said at an unrelated news conference in Queens, all things considered, I do understand why so many Puerto Ricans in this city respect that he fought for Puerto Rico in their eyes. Right? I don't agree with the way he did it, but he did serve his time. So that's kind of exactly what I said. So you got people who go, yo, you know what? He fought for us. He fought for us, and he did the time that he was due. So he didn't run away. Right, he served the time, and in the eyes of the Puerto Rican community, he fought for them. And so for them now to say, here's our parade, we want to acknowledge somebody who we believe fought for us. Right? I don't know that any of those corporate sponsors fought for them.
Right, but you know what, I mean, he was sentenced for more than 3 decades. You know, again, for the same crime as Mandela was charged for seditious conspiracy, and because he was trying to fight against the U.S. colonial control over his homeland. He wasn't involved in anything violent or whatever whatnot that they were proposing, and some of these people, these politicians, because that's what they need to hold on to justify their treatment and mistreatment of this gentleman for all these decades. I mean, I think he spent 12 of his 30-something years in solitary confinement, you know. And that's just a tough situation to be in, you know, when you're trying to just basically stand up and fight for freedoms, you know, for your homeland. And that's all he was doing. That's all he did.
And now, so I mean, but here's the other part that we have to be sensitive to, and this is another quote. Somebody says, my father was murdered by terrorists, and his terrorists were released and offered clemency. Mr. Connor said, so there was a Mr. Connor whose father was killed in, I guess, one of these bombings. And he goes on to say that apparently Mr. Lopez's life and the lives of some of these other people were valued more than his father. So there was life lost. I'm not, you know.
Yeah, but his role in all that, he had no role in all that, and I mean.
Well, but he was asked to. He was out.
Even
but Mr. Lopez,
Archbishop Desmond Tutu spoke on his behalf.
Right, but part of the thing.
Nobel Prize winning Archbishop Desmond Tutu spoke on his behalf. So I mean that tells you a lot, like in regards to the legitimacy of those claims. Whether or not you know, he really was guilty of those alleged crimes of, you know, violence and things of that nature.
Well, he renounced the violence,
exactly,
which is why
he's always denounced. He's always denounced the violence, though. He's always denounced that. He could have actually been let out in the 90s, like his co-defendants, but he refused. He refused to some of the terms that they wanted him to.
Well, he wanted some of the other people released too, and Bill Clinton wasn't going to accommodate that, so he opted to stay in jail. But listen, like I said, if the people decide, and in hell, this is what I would say to the Puerto Rican community: if you value what you believe he did, and if you believe that he wasn't involved in those atrocities, then raise your own damn money, have your parade, and say to hell with those sponsors. And then, but this is what the community has to do. Then I would punish the sponsors by telling the Puerto Rican community not to support their businesses, not to buy their products.
Goya shouldn't get any money from the Puerto Rican community.
But that's how we have to do. That's the real revolution, right? Where we look and we punish them.
You have to hit them in the wallet. That's the only thing that they respect. And I kind of think, I don't know if it's a good thing or not. I kind of think that, well, if he wanted to, I think he can be a governor of Puerto Rico.
Oh.
I mean, pretty much like what happened when Mandela got released.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the reason why I keep mentioning it because their stories are parallel to each other, and their alleged crimes were the same, and that segues to something else.
Well, now see, we got 10 minutes left in this, just about.
Well, I'll just lay the foundation.
Tease it.
I'll just lay the foundation. I mean,
well, we can talk about it. It's a big elephant in the room. Talk about it.
Basically, I mean,
there was an election.
There's an erosion of laws.
Oh.
Erosion of our First and Fourth Amendment rights that are going on, that are making protesting illegal, basically.
Who?
In this country.
Where's protesting illegal?
Well, if you look at the J20, for example, the J20, there were 200 and some odd people who were protesting at Trump's inauguration on the 20th of January that are facing charges. And
what were they doing? See, no. What were they doing?
No.
What were they doing?
It wasn't nothing like that. And it wasn't the assumption of, violent and throwing garbage cans at people and whatnot. They were out there protesting.
No, but what? No. They weren't. What would it? See, you got to look at what they're being charged with. They weren't being. They're not being charged with protesting. What are they being charged with? See, once we figure that out, then we can look at it. But they are being charged with something.
Yeah, I mean, just again, being charged with something much like Oscar Rivera that we just spoke about doesn't mean that you were actually the person that committed.
And it doesn't mean that you didn't do it, and that's why there is jurisprudence. It
justifies the reason why you get charged. It justifies the arrest. It justifies a lot of those other things.
Right.
But
and so the people will be they'll be found innocent or guilty, and we'll work it from there. But I want to talk about Donald Trump for a minute, man.
I didn't think that was possible. I said, is it ever possible that we can have a show?
How do you not talk? Comey's getting ready to testify.
Talk about, look, what they can do right now with this whole Comey thing, if they put that on pay-per-view, that they make some money.
Listen, but you know what? I'm going to tell you this.
That's a must-to-win situation.
No, but I'm going to tell you, man, I believe that the Democratic Party is going to have egg on their face, because they built this thing up to be something spectacular. Mm-hmm. And Comey releasing his notes, to try to calm the waters, to let them know, don't go out on a limb, guys, because it's not going to be a tell-all story. That's what he did. And so first he came out and said, well, I don't believe that there was really any collusion. Yes, I said that the President of the United States is not the target of the investigation. I mean, and he said, yep, I said it 3 times.
He better say that. He got the phone call. He got the phone call to say.
Is that what happened? Or
he got the phone call to say.
Wait a minute.
Remember Kennedy?
But wait a minute.
That's the phone call.
But you can't say.
He got that phone call.
All right. But here's what the left wants to do.
He got that phone call.
The left wants to criticize him.
Don't forget what happened to the Kennedys. That's the phone call.
But the left wants to criticize Comey, right? when he came out and had that information about Hillary during the election. Then they want to embrace him when they think that he's getting ready to tell all and follow whatever their agenda is. And now they want to. Now they're going to begin to crucify him again, and they're going to make those kind of allegations like, oh well, Comey must have gotten a phone call, or Comey must have.
Oh, he got that phone call.
No, but why can't he just be the guy who takes copious notes like everybody said he does, and so now he's gonna explain what happened, based on what the copious notes say. Why can't that be it? And why can't it be that Donald Trump? I heard somebody say today. They said, Donald Trump just had a conversation with him like he would have in a business thing. Like, yo, man, can we just resolve this thing?
Can we all just get along? He gave me Ronnie King's speech.
What do you say? Remember that thing I did? Remember that thing we were doing? Whatever that thing was. I don't know what that was, but
I hope it had nothing to do with grabbing him. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I don't think that Comey has one of those.
Well,
I'm just saying, but so I really do. I think that the Democrats hung a whole lot on this hook, and I think they're going to be gravely disappointed. I don't think that Comey's gonna reveal any of that, man.
Let's see. Am I having an issue live here? What's going on here?
And so,
are y'all able to see me live there, y'all? Y'all, somebody respond if my live is working correctly. I don't seem to be able to log in. Somebody mentioned we should talk about belly foam. Yeah, we'll do that on the next hour. Excuse me.
Well, no. What I want to do is spend some time, and we can tease this.
Good morning, Grace.
And you guys can think about this. There was an election that occurred, and we haven't talked about this. We've been on air now for 50 minutes.
Are you talking about the Tuesday election?
No, I'm talking about the Tuesday election. First, I want to congratulate that primary thing. I want to congratulate Ted Green.
Who was going to win? Oh yeah, we got to congratulate Ted Green. He didn't.
And you know what? Sometimes
wasn't he a studio guest?
He was a studio guest.
Can we take credit for that?
Can we
take credit for that?
You got to ask him. So
I want to call him. Hey, bro,
you know what? He tunes in, and so if he's listening, I would love him to show us some love and just call in 973-457-8000. So
give us some love,
so that we can publicly congratulate.
Give us a shout out and be like, you know what? Thanks for coming on the air. You helped push me over the line.
Well, no, it wasn't us. It's always the people.
Can I ask for that? Can I get a little? I was here that day.
You were. He sat right in the middle.
Sitting side by
side. He sat closer to you than me, but I'm not gonna hold that against him.
That's all right, man. Hey, look, man. See, because he and I are part of the brotherhood. So
I get it. But he did win, and so he is most likely going to be the next mayor in East Orange, and so I'm looking forward to good things. He did commit to coming on the show. So listen, this is what I'm excited about, though.
Okay.
He did commit to using this show as a platform to talk about the things that are going on in East Orange. Okay. Mayor Voss committed
throughout his administration.
Absolutely.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Right, and Mayor Voss has committed to do the same. Right, so he's been sending his different directors on the show to talk about the things that they're doing in Irvington. So that has been fantastic.
Now we can just get the Sharifs, the Barakas, Dawsons, and the darn James family in the same room. Then we really talking. Do you know what kind of power that is with all those families together? What?
Man, okay, so this is what I'll say.
Oh, I took him there. It's my fault, y'all. No, this time it's my fault.
But I'm not gonna rant about it. I'm doing my woosah. I'm doing my woosah. I'm woosah.
Okay.
So, look, I would always sit down and talk to John Sharp James. I talk to Mayor James all the time. In fact, I talked to him yesterday. I'm gonna talk to him when we get off the air today. I have a different relationship with the mayor than I do with John, but John knows that, and the mayor knows that, and not better, just different. Do you know what I mean?
John's my boy, man. John's my bro.
Listen, look.
That's my bro.
Personally,
That's my bro.
now I knew John when folks, and some people probably still call him Bucky, but that's when I knew John. When we called him Bucky, he used to live right there.
Even though he ain't haven't gone out in no time, recently. I'm just saying that's my dude right there.
No, and he should be. But we should listen. Did you see what I wrote about Ted Green?
No, I did not.
On my Facebook page. So, well, I got to go find it, but I did post because look, this is how
Rockman's my man too. Even though I argue with him all the time too.
Yeah, Rock's all right. But with Ted. As proud as I am of him and his accomplishment, I still got to keep it real. So, I did post a post. Here it is, and this is what I said. I said, and I'm not afraid to say this.
Okay, let's hear what
I said. I love you, and I respect you, Councilman Ted R. Green, my brother from another mother, and I wish you well. Mm-hmm. I've witnessed over quite a number of years your journey and an ultimate ascension to this day. I believe you would expect me to say what I'm getting ready to say. And I said, I congratulate you, and I fully intend to hold you to a much higher standard because I know you.
Ooh.
I said, I will be a strong wind at your back, encouraging you when you're doing right by the community, and a voice correcting you if you ever lose your way. I pray that you're able to make East Orange a safer and more prosperous place for black and brown people to live, work, and play. So
that was a pretty good write-up there. I mean, did you have help on that? I mean, you must have had Melania Trump's people help you with that. You must have had. Yeah, he didn't do that by himself. That speech was not on his own. He had Melania Trump on that one. Help. Come on, stop. You had her people. Biggie Smalls people help you write that. Something.
But here's the thing, right? I haven't known Mayor Voss as long as I've known Ted Tamir, and there's something else I want to say about that. But I haven't known him as long. But I feel like I can have real honest conversations. And the first time I had Mayor Voss on not on this show, but I had him on another internet radio show I was doing called All Things Political.
Would you please not assume that the listeners know who Mayor Voss is?
Mayor Voss, Mayor of Irvington. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
And so when I had the Mayor of Irvington, Mayor Tony Voss, on the show, I said to him, actually when he sat here one day too, I said, Mayor Voss, things are going really well in Irvington. You brought crime down. You're doing these things. I would trust that if things were not going as well, that I could still have you here so that we can work through them.
Oh, you know why they're going down? Because my man Tracy Bowers is ahead of the helm. That's why they're going down.
I had him here on the show.
When'd you have Tracy up in here?
Dude.
That's my dude.
So wait a minute, you only watch the show on Thursdays and Fridays?
Bro, some brothers gets busy, bro. I barely made it here today. You know what I was doing this morning? Shoot.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speaking on that, shout out to my 18-year-old. I'm proud of her. She got a presidential certificate today, award for maintaining throughout her entire high school career a 3.5 or better.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, that's what's up. I mean, I think my GPA, my career GPA in high school might have been a 1.5, but I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't remember.
But what I'm excited about is that I have intimate relationships with the mayor of Irvington and the mayor of East Orange.
So you guys hug it out?
You know what? I wouldn't be embarrassed to hug Mayor Voss and Tamir.
I just wanted to know, how close you were. That's all.
No. Listen. They're my brothers from another mother.
And the brothers from another mother.
And we should be able to have conversations now.
And hug in public.
And hug in public.
That's what's up.
Right now, I said this publicly before. I'm disappointed that I don't have that kind of relationship with Mayor Warren in Orange. I worked tirelessly during his election to help him get elected. Still haven't been able to get him on the show.
Maybe I can help you out with that.
Still have not been able to get him on the show.
I'm gonna have to call my boy Eric.
But I'm hoping to forge that kind of relationship with him. And then the one with Mayor Barack. I mean, I'm just be honest with you. I mean, there were a lot of things. I
want to be the bridge for that, man.
Well, you know what?
I want to be a bridge for that because I'd love to see that happen, bro. Like I don't even. Like I got, I even mentioned you in the comments. Somebody said something, I was just like, you know what? I'll put it out there because I got inbox. Somebody was like, yo, to keep it real, the only reason why you going up against, you mentioned Jim Johnson over whatchamacallit, because your man up in there, he's pushing for it. Blah blah.
That I'm pushing for it?
Yeah, because allegedly, he's mentioned, well, his fiance was working with Phil, and now he's working with.
You know what? Like, so we're gonna address that.
We're about to go out.
Yeah, we about to go out. Break. But when we come back, I'm gonna address that.
See?
And then we're gonna address.
That's how I'm gonna get him hot.
That's how you can get me hot.
That second half hour.
Woo! Radio 94.3.
You didn't see that time?
Reggae.
I mentioned you in it because I was arguing with him. What are you talking about?
Hip hop and R&B. African. Disco.
Davis, somebody I know from back in the day in high school.
Hi, this is Janet Jackson.
He sent me an inbox, and I went right to that thing, and I was like, bro, what are you talking about? I said, I don't know, because I didn't know who you were supporting. I don't know who you're supporting. I said, I'm saying, I asked a simple question on my page. Why is Phil Murphy, basically I said it like this, other than, I said, other than being able to pray, to pay brown leaders, why else is Phil Murphy the better candidate over Jim Johnson or anybody else? I asked that question.
Samuel's here, and I just want to.
And people took offense to that, and I didn't care.
Profile Awards.
And then his comment was, the only reason why you want Jim Johnson because your boy at the radio's on Jim Johnson because his fiance worked for him. Like, what? I said, I don't even, first of all, if his fiance walked past me, I wouldn't even know who she is, number one. And number two, I don't even know who he's supporting because he and I didn't have that conversation. And I said, the guy I really like is not even, he has no shot in hell. But my second choice is Jim Johnson. I like Bill Brennan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he was very bright, man.
I like Bill Brennan.
Know what I am doing? Downloading the Western Union app. I need to send money to my auntie in Nigeria. Know what I am doing now? Checking today's exchange rate to Nigeria on the Western Union app. Now I'm sending my auntie money to help her with her groceries.
Download the Western Union app today. Use it to check today's exchange rate and send money to loved ones in Nigeria. Western Union, moving money for better.
Western Union makes money from currency exchange. Carefully compare fees and exchange rates, which may vary and are subject to change. NMLS number 906983.
Flash Radio 94.3, New Jersey. Rich!
Well, I don't know, so Mr. J represent for 94.3 FM Splash Radio. We'll just splash out the music on them.
So this is, I gotta figure out how to get my, how to get that little drop to play, man. And when we come back, I haven't quite figured that out. I think this is it.
You're listening to the Eric Dawson Radio Show on 94.3 FM.
Can you view my...
yeah, man. So, we're back.
We're back. Can you view my live and see if it's...
Yeah, I'm going to go check your live out, man. So, we're back. And so...
Okay.
What did you say happened
again? You want me to lay out the foundation?
Lay out the foundation.
Okay. I made a comment.
And listen, I want all of you all to listen to this because this is going to be really important. Go ahead. And because I'm gonna lay it out. See,
no,
look,
I laid out.
But I want people to understand. Like I don't hide. Right?
Okay,
I'm here every day from 10 to 12.
Can I lay out the foundation?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right.
You got me riled up. Though.
I know I did. See, y'all can thank me later. But I made a post prior to. Okay, I made a post prior to the Tuesday election. I put up a post and I asked a question. I said, other than be able to pay or give money to brown leaders, why else is Phil Murphy the better candidate over Jim Johnson or any other candidate?
Mm-hmm.
And out of the woodwork, all the brown Democratic political supporters, started jumped on my page and they started talking about this, that, and the other. And one of them is a longtime friend back back in the high school, all the way back to high school. He sent me an inbox, and he was just like, "Oh man, the only reason why you want Jim Johnson," and I wasn't advocating for Jim Johnson. I just asked the question. I said, only because he's the only, he was the other popular Democratic candidate that everybody knew about. I preferred Bill Brennan, to be honest with you. If anybody wants to know, that was my number one preference. But he didn't have a shot in the dark because he was not included in a lot of the debates as they typically do. For the people who you really want to hear or need to hear, they keep them away from the podium. But and he kind of referenced the fact that the only reason why I changed my position from Phil to Jim is because you are supporting Jim, something insinuating because your fiance is doing some work with him, and she was doing it with Phil, and because of that, now she switched teams, so now you switch teams. I was like, first of all, you must not listen on the to the radio when Eric and I are on, because we don't always agree. Number one. Number two, I don't roll like that. I have my own. I mean, I think you invited me on to have my own independent voice, and that's what I exercise. You and I never had a conversation on who your preferred gubernatorial candidate was. We never spoke about that. And matter of fact, I couldn't even recognize your fiance if she walked past us in the room. I mean, I wouldn't know who she is because I've never met her. So, but he inboxed me that comment. So what I did, I responded and I posted it on the public feed. And I was like, look, man, I don't hide behind no shadows here. I'm nobody's puppet. This is what the situation was, and I'm just asking a valid question because I've seen the blanketed. It was a blanket all around Essex County with Phil Murphy, in particular in the brown communities. His signage everywhere.
Right.
And I was just like, other than going to the right brown leaders and shaking their hands and going to a certain church here and there and other stuff like that, why is he the better candidate? And it's a legitimate question.
It is a legitimate question. So here's the deal, right? And so for you guys who know, and all the folks out there, because they know where to find me, right? They can find me on Facebook. They can find me here from 10 to 12. They could inbox me. I'll be happy to have a conversation with them.
Saying they can wait in the parking lot for you?
Nah, well, some of them have done that too.
Okay.
But the thing is this, right? So my fiance had a wonderful event for helping Phil Murphy in the beginning to introduce Phil Murphy to the community.
Okay.
And it was held at the Priory. She did a fantastic job. She worked with some of the top level people in the campaign for Phil Murphy early on when he, shortly after he first announced. I streamed it live on my Facebook page and posted it.
Right.
My fiance then worked to help introduce to the community Jim Johnson. Okay. So here's the question that I want to ask you, right?
Well, shout out to your fiance first and foremost, because anybody who can be your fiance, she has to be a strong woman. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. She puts up with a lot. But here's the question: why shouldn't the community be introduced to everybody? Why do we have this mentality that says, well, we should only bring this candidate in and introduce them to the community, right? So the people who were saying it, and like you said earlier, the people who were saying it, a lot of them are people who were getting paid by that candidate, so they have no real interest in having anybody else be introduced to the community. Shouldn't we want, or are you telling me that you reserve the right, the only right, to decide who is best for the entire community?
And so that you don't. And just by happenstance, a lot of these political leaders who came up and endorsed him, just by happenstance, that some of them got a donation or two.
Well, whether they got a donation or we can have the money conversation, but I just want to say in general, for you to be so egotistical and so arrogant to believe that you are the only intelligent person And so you declare that only this candidate should be allowed to come into the black community and speak to the black community is why our community is in the shape that it's in. Because we're not diverse in our thinking. We don't take, look, we're willing to take the first person who asks us to go to the prom. Why don't we leverage what we have, listen to what everybody has to say, maybe we get a better date to the prom.
I heard a few independents say that they could not vote.
What do you mean?
Independent people who are listed as an independent.
Well, yeah, as a primary, you are in a primary. You are, if you declare as a Democrat, you have to vote for a Democrat. The same thing happened with Bernie Sanders, except in a couple of states. Remember?
And this has been the cry that we've made before, and I don't know why things haven't changed. Shouldn't primaries be open?
No, I don't think they should be, because what you can do then is
everybody who's registered as an independent is not allowed into the voting process.
Right, but what I want to say is this, right? So, I don't want to spend a lot of time on a civics lesson about it, but if you had people who didn't declare, make a decision about who they want, so they didn't declare as a Democrat, or didn't declare as a Republican, but now they get an opportunity to weigh in on who should be the Democrat, the primary winner, or the Republican primary winner. I don't think that that's balanced. I think that you should declare, and then you get to vote. It's kind of like in your lodge, right? I'm not in your lodge. I can't come into your lodge and decide that I want to vote on who's going to be the president or who's going to be the sergeant at arms or any of those other kind of things. I think that it's a party, and you're not a part of that party. Hello, caller.
Hey guys, this is Farrakhan again.
Why? Twice a day? Why? Why do I want to? I'm sorry, Farrakhan. You were saying.
You want this one. You want this one. Believe me, you want this one. I had that situation happen when we voted this past Tuesday for the primary for the governor, because I don't declare a party. I view myself as an independent, and I want the best person for the job.
Period.
And of course, I was forced to have to pick a side, and then not only was I forced to have to pick a side, but then I can only vote for that side, and that's wrong.
That is so wrong.
We should not be at making anybody have to pick a side before the final election. I guess that would be the governor election.
In the general, In the general, you don't have to pick. In the general election, that's absolutely right.
But the thing is this: maybe I don't think that in the general, the best Republican that was running right before the primary is now.
I agree with that, but you know what you could do. But you know what you could do as an independent, right? But here's what you can do, right? As an independent, right? As an independent, what you can do is you can campaign for that Republican candidate. Right, so you can donate to that Republican candidate. You can canvass for that candidate. You can go and get other people, make sure that they rally the Republican base. So as an independent, even though you can't go out and vote yourself, you can do everything else within your power to ensure that the candidate, whichever one, Republican or Democrat, if you're an independent, gets the victory. And so when independents don't do that, and when they show up on election day and say, "Oh, I'm powerless," no, you had all the power during the entire entire campaign.
I disagree, and this is why. I disagree, and this is why. The reason why I disagree is the same reason why, and if anybody is unfamiliar with, there's a documentary called "The United States of Aric." A-R-I, is it A-R-I-C or A-R-E-C? Or ALEC, A-L-E-C. That speaks, it's basically a non-for-profit organization, and I'll put that in quotes, that's out there, that's used by lobbyists to allow them to give gifts and enable them to lobby a particular candidate, whatever, to sway them.
But I don't understand what that has to do with. So,
well, the thing is that there's the Democratic and Republican Party have come to an agreement from the national all the way to the local level that when they have debates, that they won't allow third-party candidates into their debates.
But I'm not talking about a third-party candidate right now. What I'm saying...
No, but the thing is, if you're registered independent, and if you want anybody, one, you're not allowed to vote for a Democrat or Republican, because if it's not an open primary, if it's closed to only members of the party, then so you have no voice. Then when it gets to the other stage, yeah, you do at the general election, but at that point, that candidate that you want is now removed from the debate.
But wait a minute, no, but stop, because you guys are skipping an entire process that you are empowered in during the campaign.
Once the primary happens,
no, I'm not talking. So my question is this:
what's Jim Johnson gonna do right now? For example,
here my. So I'm gonna ask Farrakhan straight up. Farrakhan, did you walk with Jim Johnson? Farrakhan, did you drive 10 people to the poll to vote for Jim Johnson even though you couldn't? Farrakhan, did you donate to Jim Johnson's campaign? See, and I'm asking the question because what I'm saying is this: if every independent...
Eric, before you go, right? Before you keep on, you have to understand, if I am independent, I may not, now although I cast my vote for Jim Johnson, even if I am independent, that simply means I'm not particular to anyone, and I should not be forced to have to pick a side. That's where you take my independence away. And that's what you're doing by the way the process is currently set up. You see, I want to see the best possible candidate. And I don't care if he's Republican or if he is a Democrat or what, a Buddhist. Doesn't matter to me. Whatever kind of party he's in. I don't know who that's going to be until the final day.
But
you're doing by closing the primaries to people that say I subscribe strictly to being a Democrat or I subscribe strictly to being a Republican, you are now leaving me as an independent out of the process of saying, I think this is the best Republican.
No. Understand. No, the only process that you're being left out of is being able to vote on election day. That's the only process. In terms of you did. No. Listen. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. See, and I think that's there lies the issue, guys, because that is not the only process that counts.
That's not the only.
It is not the only
process that counts. That's what they count. That's what they count when they say when they go ahead and announce the winner.
Let me ask you a question, right? If you have a vote, how many votes do you have, Farrakhan? You have one vote, right?
Right.
So if you were able to go and get 10 people who didn't vote to vote, even if you couldn't vote, right? Then you'd have 9 more votes for Jim Johnson or whoever you wanted to support.
Assuming everybody was a registered Democrat, but you're assuming everybody's a registered Democrat also.
Are you registered? And I asked you, and I've signed people up to register, and I've delivered those registrations. So that's what I can do, and
that's absolutely right.
Now I don't know what they're going to do when they get in that booth. If they say, "Con, who you going for?" I'll tell them why, right? But that doesn't mean they're going to do it like that. But that's still not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the simple fact that at some point I am told I have to go left or right before I can go forward, and that's wrong.
But
that should not be like that. If this is supposed to be open elections in America, then a person should be able to go into a booth and say, "Hey."
Well, it's not. It's closed.
This isn't the final vote.
Well, that's absolutely right. It's not. But see, but it's
the primaries
not.
are closed.
But see,
that's
that's what you're missing. But that's what you're missing again.
It should be open.
It's a closed primary,
and
it's closed to. Well, I believe that they should be closed. I believe that they should be closed.
You guys were talking about basketball this morning, right? You want to see the best from the East go against the best from the West. That's what the finals is, right?
Right.
That's what your finals is, right? The best from the East going against the best from the West.
Right. That's how it should be.
In this case, right, when you're dealing with the politics, I'm not getting a chance to put the best Democrat up against the best Republican if I have closed elections. Everybody should be able to vote in those primaries to say, I want to see this guy here, who I think is a pretty good Republican. I'm liking a little bit of what he says. And this guy here, he's a Democrat. I want to see what he has to say, and I want to see them on this stage together. But I don't get to do that. I only get to vote for one when you have a closed primary, and that shortens it for everybody.
Well, thanks for the call.
I'll leave it to y'all from there.
All right, Pete.
So again,
well, no, I did
because I still
he's a little bit wrong
with that.
about that part, but
I still disagree because the question is
if the primary is open, the problem is, see, you're equating it as in the Hatfields and the McCoys, and my problem is, or something, well, you're not part of the club, but everybody who's a citizen of the country is part of the club. We should all be able to equally participate in the primary if it's an open primary. But once you close the primary, because somebody says, look, I'm not going to align with a particular party, I'm going to choose to be an independent. And because you made that choice, you cannot vote in a Democratic or Republican primary to help cast your vote, your right to vote, to a candidate who you like after you heard them. Maybe you said, well, look, how do I know prior to anything which candidate I'm going to like until I listen to them? And then say, all right, I'm independent and I want to vote for the Democratic candidate, or I'm independent, I want to vote for the Republican candidate, or I'm independent, I want to vote for the third party candidate. Why are you not allowed to do that if it's a closed primary? You're closed out of that process. You're not allowed to do anything, and you have to, at the end, now you're left with the two choices who were chosen by everybody else but you. And you were talking about he could have had the power to pick up people and drop them off. Well, the problem is, what if everybody he knows is also a registered registered as an independent voter? Then all 10 people are kept out, and it goes on from there. So that's a problem. That's a problem if it's like that. I don't know. Somebody tell me something different.
Well, again, what I'm saying is this. Well, there are a couple of things, right? If you don't like the fact that our state has closed primaries, then work to change it. The fact is that right now we do have closed primaries, so you have to work within the system. And so if there is a candidate amongst the field of candidates that you want to make sure makes it to the general election, and you realize that you can't vote for that person, you can do everything else. You can donate, right? You can still put lawn signs on your lawn. You can go down the street to your neighbors. You can hold coffee clutches for them.
I can do all that. And just as a lot of people, you can do 10,000 things, but if you can't go to the voting booth and cast that vote, it doesn't show that you've done anything.
That's not true. I disagree with that. I think that you can do a whole lot more. Do you know how many people said that they didn't know that there was an election on Tuesday? Do you know how many people said they didn't know who all the 11 candidates were?
That's a shame.
That is a shame. But you could play a role in making sure that people are informed. So when you say that the only thing that you can do that makes a difference is going to the voting booth on election day, I'm saying that is the falsehood that I think has permeated our community. No, you have a lot more to do prior to that. You can't just sit back and watch your candidate or the person you want to see make it to the general election struggle during the whole campaign cycle, and then you say, I'm going to see you at the finish line. No, you got to be there to give them water. You got to be there to wipe the sweat off their brows. You got to be there to encourage them to keep going when they get tired. You got to be there along the entire race. And when you're not there and then your candidate doesn't make it to the finish line, then don't boo-hoo and cry about it. You didn't help. You got work to do. Oh, that scares me that you think that the only work you have is to show up at the poll on election day. That's not it.
When you're ostracized out of the choice,
you're not ostracized. That's my whole point, Ian.
You're kept out of the choice of who can make it to the finals.
No, you're not, Ian. Somebody could have taken, if you're an independent, you could have taken 2,000 door knockers from Jim Johnson. You know what you could have done?
But I couldn't. You
know what they could have done?
No.
Listen. Stop for a second. Please listen, guys.
Well, why can't I vote?
And hit share on this because this is really important.
Why can't I vote?
We all sat and looked and saw that Phil Murphy was going to spend $20 million, and that Jim Johnson was nowhere near the $20 million. But when you understand what the money is being spent for, right? It's being spent for canvassers. It's being spent to get the word out. And so if the independent people really wanted to be involved, they could have said, hey, Jim, Put your money back in your pocket. We're coming in, we're going to donate our services to you so that you can go man for man, mano a mano with this dude in the streets. They didn't do that. They said, you go ahead and run it yourself, and then we're going to bitch and moan and complain on election day that we can't go push a lever. Stop it.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know a lot about these candidates. A lot of people, like I mentioned, my guy was, Bill Brennan, my preferred guy. But he didn't have a shot in the dark, unfortunately, because one, people don't know who he is. Two, he's not allowed. He wasn't allowed on the main stage with all the other main big names. He was put on the side with the quote unquote outcast, the other outcasts, and that goes against democracy because the people don't get to hear him.
Yeah, well, no, but you know what? Stop again.
Okay.
This is killing me, guys.
I'm stopping. 973-457-8000
is the calling number. You guys can play a huge role. All of you guys have a couple thousand friends on Facebook, right?
Right.
Sharing, broadcasting.
I didn't even know he was at the Priory until the day of.
Right. But then I'll ask this question. For all of the people who thought that at the very least it was important that Jim Johnson's, that him being at the Priory would be heard by other people, I would ask this question. How many people shared the video? One. And then how many people invited? See, because you can go to that video and you could have invited people to watch him live. Do you understand what I'm saying, Ian? So Jim Johnson, instead of having 40 people that might have been watching live, if all of the people who felt compelled to want to make sure that everybody got to know about every candidate, even though if you were independent you couldn't vote, the point that you saw it, you could have hit invite your whole Facebook family.
That part was done and by me, and I don't know who else did that, but the fact is, if you don't know until the day of, or if you don't even find out.
But you don't have to be there. Again, the beauty of technology right now is I wasn't at any of Bernie Sanders' rallies. I saw them all on Facebook. Right now, Jim Comey is testifying, and that's on Facebook. It's broadcasted.
How many people found out late in the rounds about Bernie Sanders, like I did? If you're not going to find out, that's the problem.
Right.
They're not giving the
why
platform.
Is that? But who do you give? Who is responsible
Everybody should
for
have
that? Let me ask you a question. Who's responsible for finding out about the candidates?
Well, if everybody starts out on an equal playing field, everybody, and if everybody's saying when you're going to have a debate, everybody's allowed to be in a debate.
So listen. There's a date by which, if you're running for office, you have to declare, right? Yeah. So, if you guys say, well, I didn't know who was running, that's on you. You have to declare that you're running for a governor. You have to declare that you're going to run for mayor. You have to declare that you're going to run for council. You have to declare that you're running for assembly or freeholder, that you're running for county executive. You have to declare that you're running for president or Congress. You have to declare. So you guys right now, no excuses. Wait a minute. No more excuses.
Who won that freeholder at large position?
She didn't win it. Deborah didn't win.
I know Deborah didn't win.
I don't know. I didn't look through all of those. But what you guys can do right now is you can go and Google to create a calendar for yourself. So see, take on personal responsibility.
And we do.
No, they don't. Go and Google and put all the dates up on your page and educate all of your friends of when the dates are for people to declare.
How did we feel during the school board election? Right, we felt we were fighting the battle uphill versus a machine that were pushing. We didn't. We were in here going hard for a whole week and some change, knowing that we had an uphill battle against an established machine, supporting a group of nonsense morons who also got what is that? They got called out last week by for whatever the thing. The reason why we're trying to gain back control, and then they called out.
Oh! You talking about Leah Owens?
No, I'm saying the reason why. The same 3 people that were newly elected were.
That they were, ethics violations.
Yeah, ethics violations. And we were trying to get who we felt were the better candidates, better choices, in there for the kids, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? We had an uphill battle. The other people got in, and what happened?
Right, but again, I'm going to go back to it.
And a lot of the people didn't even know. If we didn't even push hard as we did to get the voice, and unfortunately, we came out with an L on all the candidates we wanted to see in there.
But Ian, I want to go back to saying that we have to stop taking the victim role.
It's not I didn't know about the money. What I'm saying, it shouldn't be fair just because you got deep pockets that you get to reach more people. That's
but let me ask you a question.
That should
Bernie Sanders was out raising Hillary Clinton, wasn't he?
Yes.
Right. And even though she had deep pockets,
because he had to, but he was advocating against that. He was like, there should be no corporate sponsorship.
But my point to you is this: that the people fueled his campaign.
Yes,
so if these people gave a damn, then they ask these people who are going, woe is me, about the idiot who is the board president right now. Ask them how many of them contributed to any of the campaigns. Ask them how many.
But his campaign contribution increased with time when more people heard his voice. When it wasn't there.
How are you going to hear the voice? So my question again is this. For every single person, listen, it can grow exponentially. You find out about a candidate, you tell 50 of your friends on Facebook, and you dog those 50 people, and you say, make sure you share this. And then you tell those people that once they share it, then we have to take personal responsibility.
I did that with Bill Brennan too, but again, it fell on deaf ears because nobody.
Well, then don't blame. So then, if it falls on deaf ears, don't blame the person who had the money. Blame the lazy ass people who didn't do the work. You got to blame those lazy ass people who didn't do the work.
Right.
See.
What
I'm gonna say is this.
What about the people who would have worked had they known?
Well, why didn't they know? Because I'm gonna say
because the word wasn't being.
No, well, why didn't they go and find out? Wait a minute. So wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. Are you going to tell me, Ian? See, we got to have this conversation. Are you going to tell me that there are people who live in this state that don't know that
how many people told you that you just said it not too long ago that they didn't even know that the darn election was going on? How many people told you that?
No, but I understand that. Okay. There are a lot of people. But my question to you is this:
Why is it not advertised in that fashion?
Stop. You gotta stop. Why aren't you telling people to go? Do you believe, Ian, that there are people who are residents of New Jersey who don't know that every 4 years there's a race for a new governor?
If Election Day was a national holiday, everybody would know.
No, you didn't answer my question. Do you believe that there are people who don't believe that don't know that every 4 years there's an election for a new governor?
And who's on their calendar like that? Oh, today's that day.
No, that was not my question.
Of course, people know.
They know that we elect new governors, right?
Yes, they do.
So I'm saying, why don't the people take it upon themselves if they so let's take every person who says, I didn't know there was an election.
We vote, just as Marcy said on my feed, we vote every year for somebody.
Right.
There's an election every year for something. But the problem is, when we talking about at least statewide and national, there's no national election day, and it should be.
No.
In other countries they are. So everybody knows. Everybody knows. You know when Memorial Day is coming because you know that's your day off.
I don't want to be a crutch for people. I want them to get up off of their lazy asses. Listen, you know what? They know when a new sitcom comes on. They know what time Basketball Wives or whatever comes on. They go and find the stuff that's important to them. And I'm saying that people should
go. But it's also advertised.
Right, people should go and find it, man. I'm not promoting laziness. I'm saying you know that there's an election. You know your community is screwed up. You know it. You walk out the door and you see it.
But check it out.
And then you say, well, I need somebody to tell me when to vote for somebody to make my life better. Get the hell out. I mean, come on, stop,
ain't nobody saying that. And just as an example you gave about the Basketball Wives or whatever the crap. I don't even watch that crap. But guess what? I could recognize them. I can recognize them because their faces are put everywhere. I didn't see them. I don't even watch the shows. I don't watch the knucklehead hip hop and all this other basketball wives of hell. I don't know nothing about them.
Look, if the 18,000,
but I can recognize them because their faces are everywhere.
If the 18,000 people in Essex County who voted for Jim Johnson took 10, I want you to understand this math. Those 18,000 people who voted for Jim Johnson, if they had taken 10 door knockers and committed to knock on 10 doors, that would have been 180,000 doors that would have been knocked on.
Right.
He wouldn't have needed any money. He wouldn't have needed a dime. If 18,000 people that went and said, you know what, I like that guy, I'm going to go vote for him. If you had done a little bit more and gone to his campaign headquarters and gotten 10 door knockers.
When did we find out about his locations up at headquarters? Come on, stop playing. We were on the air when he told us. We don't know a lot about this information. Just like I said, you can recognize Jay-Z, Beyonce, and all these other, even if you don't listen to the music. The Kardashians.
Okay. So this is the question I asked you, right? So here's the question I want to ask you. Again, find it. Find it. If they had gone to look to see who declared to be governor, they would have seen that there were 11 candidates. And then all you have to do is go and Google, and you would have found their websites. And then you would have looked down their websites, and it would have showed where their campaign headquarters is and the phone numbers to the campaign headquarters. You have to do some work, people. But you say, no, I want to sit and I want somebody to tell me where his campaign headquarters is. When nobody told me what the phone number was. When nobody told me this.
Stop.
No.
Stop.
You have to get up and get off of your asses and do the work. So this whole notion, again, of, well, it was the money that mattered. No, it wasn't. Work trumps
Don't say money
money.
didn't matter.
No,
Don't say that.
No, listen. You know why the money mattered? Money mattered because of lazy people.
Money mattered. And
because
you know
of
what else
lazy
mattered?
people.
You know what else mattered, especially in the brown communities? When Cory Booker said, yeah, I'm for him. When all the black mayors throughout New Jersey said, I'm for him. When those pastors behind the pulpit and those not-for-profit, non-tax organizations were out there talking about, I'm for him. That's when it happened. It just so happened he might have put a nice little, something in that church's pocket. But I'm not saying that's why the preacher said his name. Actually, I am. Come on, let's keep it real.
But we have to stop waiting for other people to give us information, guys. For all of you who have access to the information,
how much information have you received? You and I, how much information do you and I exchange with each other? To be like, wow, I didn't even know that. And stuff like, we've had topics on the show that come out like, how is it that we don't even know this?
I understand. I get it, right?
You don't.
But when you find it out,
you don't know what to look for in some of these cases.
But when you find it, you have to share it.
Yeah, but that's right? That's what I do. That's what you do, especially when we're going to come on the air together. Like, yo, did you know about it? Check this topic out. When I send you, come on.
But I'm saying, as a community, we have to understand that information is important. It is vital to our very existence.
Yes,
so when we find information, we have to not just look at it and go,
I got that.
On the planet, we have to make sure that we're sharing that information.
Right. I agree with that part. Of course.
And I want to say that Ian Owens, I'll get his...
I'm getting my drink on.
Yeah, antioxidant by Oxidone, the sponsor of the Eric Dawson radio show.
Alkazone.
What did I say? I said Alkazone.
Alkazone water, 9.5 pH.
That's what he's quenching his thirst with right now. So I want to thank Brother Amir for supporting the Eric Dawson radio show and providing.
Now it's over for you. Now I got my hydration. It's over.
So the other thing that I want to talk about these last 20 minutes is there was an article that came out about this same Jim Johnson, right? So Jim Johnson now, he got 18,000 votes out of Essex County. The last numbers that I looked at when Joe DiVincenzo ran for county executive, he got 17,000 votes.
And the rumor is,
drum roll please, that Jim Johnson may be running for county executive.
Now that's...
What do you think?
I like that. Now, but now the question is, what do the people in Essex County like?
Well...
And are they... And now, just because... that's interesting.
Well, there are a couple questions that I have. So here are two questions that I want to
Who did Joe D endorse? I think he endorsed.
Of course, he endorsed Phil Murphy.
He endorsed Phil Murphy.
Yeah.
Murphy. And if he got 18,000 votes in spite of the endorsement, yeah.
Well, no. He got 18,000 votes in spite of being on the line. He ran against the Democratic Party and got 18,000 votes. So he was a salmon swimming upstream. Right. Murphy, and he got 18,000 votes.
You know, he was a Democratic candidate trying to get the bid to represent as a Democratic candidate.
Right, but he was running against the political machine when he did it. Mm-hmm. So here's a question that I have. I have two questions. Call number 973-457-8000 if you dare to answer them. One, how important is it to have a black county executive? Is that important?
That's the question?
Well, that's one. That's one. I mean, people thought that it was important to have a black president.
I thought you had better. I got
a couple. I said I got a couple.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna give you a second chance.
We thought that it was important to have a black president. We've not had a black county executive. We've got Essex County. I want you guys to understand this. Essex County is the most densely populated county in the entire country when it comes to black mayors. We have more black mayors in Essex County than any other county in the entire country. How important is it to have a black county executive? That's question number one. Question number two is this. And somebody asked me this today. He said, well, Eric, you know, Jim Johnson's got a white wife. And, you know, if they start putting that picture of his white wife out there, then black women are going to rail against him and aren't going to vote for him because he's got a white wife. And I said, I can't believe that our black women are that naive. I can't believe that they're that narrow-minded. I can't believe that they are that short-sighted, that they would look at a man who's qualified, and who they would dismiss simply because he's got a white wife. Good morning, caller.
How you doing, Eric? Peace to the brothers. Good morning, Tom.
Peace. What's happening?
Ian, when you ain't there, you miss, man. I just want to say that. But I live up in Millburn. I'm trying to think about Jim Johnson running for a county exec. Like Verona, Millburn, Short Hills, Livingston. I mean, the people in the urban areas would definitely have to come out strong. I mean, if they don't come out strong, there won't be no need for them to run.
Well,
like Joey B is like, I mean, I'm looking at it realistically. He definitely won't get the vote in this town.
Well, I don't know. We disagree with that because
in what town?
Because
in Millburn?
He would definitely have to come. They would definitely have to come out strong in the urban parts of Essex County. That's what I'm saying. There's no time to stay home.
No.
For Jim Johnson to really become Essex County.
Well, okay. So this is what I'm gonna say to you, brother. I'm sorry.
No, hold on with that. Only because of the fact he just read the numbers. The last election, Joe D won. He had 17,000+ votes when he won Essex County executive election. Mm-hmm. Jim Johnson in Essex County received 18,000 votes.
Off the line.
But they protect their own, though. That's
no, but in Essex, but check it out. Joe D's endorsed Phil Murphy, and Jim Johnson still got 18,000 votes in Essex County, which means that people didn't go with Joe D. They went with him. So that those 18,000 votes would those same 18,000 and just 18,000 would go up against him.
Okay, I understand that, but I'm saying they protect their.
But let me ask you a question, brother. So here's some numbers.
We talking about Joey B. We ain't talking
about. Right. Okay. So here's some other numbers I want to give you. Right.
But
here's some. Let me give them these numbers.
They said that about Mike Tyson too.
Let me give them these numbers. So here's some other numbers. Just in Newark, right? In Newark, Mayor Baraka got 24,000 some votes. Shavar Jeffries got 21,000 some votes. So combined, they got 45,000 votes. So just in
talking about the county,
no, listen to what I'm saying, brother. So my point to you is this: based on if you go look at the history of Joe D running and the votes that he's gotten, just out of Newark, if the people who voted for those two mayoral candidates voted in Newark
alone,
he could bring home the vote. So
we're trying to let you
know. So I'm not talking about Milburn. I'm saying if Newark handled this business, if Newark handled this business,
but that's what I'm saying. Newark will have to handle his business.
Well, okay.
Without Newark handling his business,
but if
he don't have a chance.
No, but check it out. If
do you think that it's a deficit that he's married to a white woman?
But check it out. If Newark alone,
I'm not talking about race.
No, I understand that, but no, I get it. But the other question that I had that was asked to me earlier was that that there are black women, I was told in particular in our community, who take offense to black men, successful black men in particular, who are married to white women, and that might be a deficit for him in our community.
Yeah, but trust me on this. Now, his effort to run for county, I'll support that wholeheartedly, and I'll probably vote for him. Because I never back down the bullies.
Now, check this out. I got a question for you.
I'm a bully fighter, so I'll support him as far as that. But realistically speaking, I'm looking at Essex County, I'm looking at Livingston, I'm looking at Verona, I'm looking at West Caldwell.
And they were still there. They were still there when Joe D only got 18,000 votes. They were still there.
And against Jim Jones, basically an unknown. A lot of
Jim Johnson is not an unknown.
For the work. Don't get me wrong, I'm not for the work. I'm just saying it's best to assess your opponent. You have to assess your opponent you're going up against. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he shouldn't run. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that you really have to get out all that talking and all that other stuff. You really have to put in work.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Take Joey D down, but you have to get up off your butt and you have to train. You have to run the park. You have to hit that bag. You have to spar. You have to do these things.
No doubt.
To be a champion like Joey.
Let me ask you the last question. Last question I want to ask you. Last question I want to ask you, caller, is this: do you believe that it is, if he did run against Joe D, reminding people that Joe D brought Chris Christie into not just the black communities, but brought him into the Short Hills and into the Livingstons and into the Milburns and suggested that folks should vote for Chris Christie? Do you think that that would play against Joe D?
I don't think no man is undefeated or can't be beat. So Joey D can be beat. I'm just saying we can't lack. We really have to put the work in the urban community. I
think Jim Johnson is a viable candidate to possibly do that. I mean, the man wasn't he truly was an unknown to a certain degree prior to his last gubernatorial race, but he's no longer an unknown now. People know who he is now.
So what do you think about when I said that Essex County has the high concentration of African American mayors, right? So in Orange you got Warren, in Irvington you've got Voss, in Newark you've got.
You mean the same mayors that supported?
Wait a second, let me finish.
Okay,
in Newark you've got.
I'm about to go there.
You've got Baraka, right? And now you have.
The same
you have Taylor in East Orange, but you're going to have Tamir.
So that's another discussion. We're talking about that's a black power vote right there.
No, but that first.
So my question is, do you think
I don't think that's going to happen?
Do you think that we can get an alliance? Do you think that we can get an alliance of? Do you think that we can get an alliance of these mayors to look at it? Because
no, you won't, because that won't happen.
We're saying the same thing. We're basically saying the same thing. All I'm saying is we have to get the alliance. We have to.
No, we don't. We don't have to get the alliance. So I disagree. We don't have to get the alliance amongst the mayors. We just need the individual votes, because all those mayors that you mentioned, all those mayors were supporting the current what's his name, Phil Murphy. They all supported him just like Joe D did.
But the black mayors in the Essex County,
they all supported Phil Murphy.
Joey D supporters. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm not fooled by that. They all are Joey D supporters. They may not say
That's my point. That's my point. That's not going to happen, which is why. But
they won't say it publicly. But I know for a fact most black mayors that's in these urban cities are heavily necessarily Joey D supporters.
So now let me ask you another question. Caller, this is fascinating. So now I want to ask you this, right? So if you say that the black mayors are Joey D supporters, and at least, and this is anecdotal, right? But when I walk in the African American communities, I hear in the circles that I travel a lot of folks who don't believe that Joe D is doing enough in the black communities, that he's spending.
I absolutely agree.
Okay, and so now here's my question: if you say that the mayors support Joe D, and you say that the electorate doesn't support Joe D, but the electorate supports the mayors who support Joe D, there's a disconnect there. So
but most of the mayors in the urban city, somewhere or another, their connections to Joey D got them their position.
Right, but
we're not sleeping on that. We can't sleep on that.
Right, but but at the end of the day, if we're talking about voters coming out and voting, right? So no matter how much Joe D might support somebody, it still requires the electorate to come out and vote for that candidate, right? Right. And so how do you have how? So then how?
Come out and vote.
So how?
They have to come out and vote in block, not individually in the block.
How do you have somebody vote for somebody who supports somebody that they don't like? How does that happen?
But do you know how fickle the urban voters are? Oh, I'm not voting. I done heard it all. I done worked the poll. I done been on campaign teams. I done did it all. And I'm telling you, some of the craziest answers. I'm out in the poll trying to get somebody to vote. They telling me, oh, I'm not voting. I don't feel like voting because I got cigarettes to get, or I'm getting ready to go to the liquor store. I mean, the excuses they make for not voting. I'm not talking about somebody sitting
apathy is a definite illness.
I've been on the ground. I've been on the ground with trying to get people to vote. And I'm telling you from experience, there's a lot of work that has to be done to defeat them. I'm not disagreeing with you, brothers. I didn't call to disagree. I'm just giving another assessment of the situation.
Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Peace.
So the question, is...
Did we ever get his name? We never got his name.
But the question is whether or not he is a viable candidate, whether or not he does have something to offer. And, at the end of the day, although I want to say that race shouldn't matter, right? But I think that in some cases it's important at least to know from a cultural standpoint that there is a connection, right? That people understand, your pain and can relate to it. And, I don't know if Jim Johnson can, but should he be listened to? Should he be listened to? Should he be welcomed into the debate about how to improve Essex County, and in particular the urban communities within
what I want to say and is that people don't understand the effect, the domino effect that Bernie Sanders has on local politics. A lot of people are coming out because he shook their spirit and said, you know what, I'm going to get out here and I'm going to go ahead and get involved. For example, in Maryland, the former NAACP chair, he's running for governor of Maryland. Mm-hmm. And he said, you know what, Bernie Sanders got me to do that. Jealous, the former NAACP chair, mm-hmm. he's running for governor in Maryland now. And a lot of people were inspired by that, and I'm happy he did inspire a lot of people.
Are you saying that Jim Johnson was inspired by Bernie Sanders?
I think he was inspired to run for governor by Bernie Sanders. Yeah.
Mm. I know Wisniewski might have been. I mean, he was a supporter of Bernie Sanders.
No, I'm saying there were multiple people inspired by him, and in this state, at least those two were. I mean, Jim Johnson used Bernie Sanders' speech as a launch for his darn campaign, and he spoke about that in his campaign message, talking about the money in Goldman Sachs and all that, and so yeah, it was a definite inspiration. He's he's not going to use him.
Well,
as
Bernie Sanders,
but
there's a progressive wave that's sweeping across the country, right?
And I'm happy to see that.
You had these two progressive candidates combined got over 40% of the vote, right? And had a fraction of the amount of money that the front runner and ultimate winner of the primary had. So there is in New Jersey, there is a groundswell. And the question is, what are you going to do with it? So even when the caller said, well, he's got to be organized, I'm saying, no, he doesn't have to be organized. The community has to be organized. See, I want to get back to that. And I'm going to keep going back to that.
And I think
when we want to try to see, because understand this, we ask, and let's be clear, again, we ask these candidates who step out on a limb, right, and they're not running with the party, we ask them to be organized. We talk about what they have to have. They have to have this. Oh, if he's going to do that, he's got to be ready for X. Or if he's going to do that, he's got to be ready for Y. And I tell you, the candidates who run on the line, they don't really have to be ready for anything, because the line is the organization that ushers them across the finish line. And so you have to have an organization on the other side that is equal and greater than the party. And that organization is the electorate. So while you're sitting on the sidelines telling that guy that he's got to have this and that and the other, you're forgetting the fact that you have to get off of the sidelines, get into the game, and you have to block and tackle for that candidate. If going and voting isn't enough, it is not enough. It will never be enough to get what it is that you want. You have to get off of the sidelines, and you have to get into the game.
I wish he would have. I wish he would have won. The nomination from the Democratic Party.
But wishing isn't enough either.
No, but the reason why, because this state, we need to do something to try to get these elections to be open election. I don't like any state that has closed primaries. Keeping
right, but
out tax-paying.
But again, I'm going to say that we're making excuses, right? So, but there's something we could do right now.
I'm saying in addition to what you're speaking of, what needs to happen, so we shouldn't have this problem at the next election. The next election, we shouldn't be having the same discussion, the fact that it's a closed election, because it should.
But we're going to be, right? They're going to be people who are going to have that.
That should be no, because the issue should be resolved by the next election.
It's not going to be resolved.
It should be,
but it won't be, and we know it won't be. So let's see.
Why do we know that? You just went on the rant about the things that we got to do grassroots wise. Why can't we do the same thing to push our local
because
state assembly?
Right. Because I believe that I believe from an organizational standpoint, right? Trying to get that done is going to be way more difficult than trying to tell the people who are listening to this show, right, to share, right? Like literally right now. Again, and I always ask you to do this because it's not there's no muscle memory in it. But take this episode right now while you're listening and hit share. Like, it's not a difficult concept, right?
We understand that.
Right, but they don't do it, right? But the information that we try to give, I think it's valuable information. You may disagree with some of it. Maybe there's a little bit that you agree with, but share it. Maybe there's some other people who get something from it. But those people will never get the information because the power that the listeners right now have to hit share, they don't execute on that power, right? So when you're talking about this loftier goal, I'm saying do something immediate. The next immediate thing that they could do is this. If you've got a group of people who really believe that the best candidate for us, or the best governor for us, isn't Murphy, and look, I would love to have no, I'd love to have Phil Murphy in here. I did get a call that I believe we're going to get Kim Giordano in the studio, so that's going to be pretty exciting.
And she's the lieutenant governor.
The lieutenant governor who is the nominee for the Republican nominee. But we have to.
And the reason why I think Phil Murphy's gonna. I think she has a cloud with Christie that she's not going to be able to get past, because Christie's
but the question is, again, and I don't know, that you may be right, but I'd say shame on the electorate for not doing their homework on her. Think about what Christie did.
No, I'm not saying on her. I'm saying I don't think she's going to be able to come from underneath that big shadow. No, Christy cast.
Right, but I know, but the reason they won't. He's
not popular right now.
But let's assume.
I think it's going to hurt her in general. That's what I'm saying.
Let's assume that she was at odds with Chris Christie during her entire 7 years there, right? And you say, well, shame on that, because the electorate is not going to pay attention to what her record is. They're going to focus on what Chris Christie's record is. And I'm going to say again, that is the electorate, right? And they need to be more educated. And I'm not saying go vote for Kim Giordano, and I'm not saying don't go vote for her. I'm simply saying that you have to begin to do your own work. Don't allow these commercials and these mailers and these things to dictate to you who you should vote for. Do your research.
But those things take time. The research that you're speaking of.
We got to stop with the excuses and start with the doing.
No, but the fact is, because I'm going to go back to a comment that you made earlier about the Real House, whatever, the Real House Negroes from whatever show, one of these reality shows. I could if I saw any of them, I would recognize them, even though I don't watch the darn show. That's the problem.
Well, listen.
And we know that, but we're out of time again, bro.
Yeah, this is Eric.
And this is Ian.
I hope you got something out of this, guys.
I hope you got something out of it.
We're out.
Peace.
This has been the Eric Dawson Radio
Man, I am so tired.
It's not just about Eric's opinion. It's about understanding what's really going on.
I think I went to sleep at
Monday
1
through Friday, 10 o'clock a.m. Just continuing to talk about what elected leadership is.
Flash Radio 94.3.
All right, y'all. See you tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to get into that Bell reform. Somebody mentioned that. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I didn't want to start that topic and not give it enough time. There's a lot of issues with that.
Hi, this is Janet Jackson.
So after I finish this, please share it. After I finish it, after I close it out, you can start from the beginning again. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. Yeah, we're not having no long dissertation today. I'm tired.
Hi, this is McBoomin Movie. Foxtrot for